The samurai were known for their skill in battle, whether with a sword or a bow. But what about firearms? How did the samurai adapt to the new gunpowder weapons introduced by Western traders? Let's find out in today's episode. During the Sengoku and Edo periods of Japanese history, the samurai were constantly refining their skills in combat. They developed many different battle tactics that they used in order to defeat their enemies. In this episode, we will discuss 10 different battle tactics the samurai used in those two time periods. And don't forget to stay till the end of the episode because I am going to discuss the Japanese samurai and guns, so let's get into it. Number 1. The Ukiyo. This was an essential tactic used by the samurai during the Sengoku period. Basically, the idea behind the Ukiyo was to use cavalry to quickly move around the battlefield and get behind enemy lines. There they would then set up an ambush and attack the enemy from the rear. To be successful in this tactic, the samurai would need to have a good understanding of the terrain and know how to take advantage of natural obstacles like hills and trees. They would also need to be able to ride their horses at full speed for extended periods of time without getting exhausted. No. 2. Kisho. This was a defensive tactic that was used by the samurai when they were outnumbered by the enemy, by forming a circle or semicircle with their backs against each other. The samurai were able to protect themselves from arrows and other projectiles while still being able to fight back. This tactic was made famous by Takeda Shingen during his battle against Uesugi Kenshin at the Battle of Tanegashima. 3. Fletching. During the Sengoku period, the art of fletching was highly prized by the samurai. Basically, fletching is a type of archery that involves shooting multiple arrows very quickly. A skilled fletcher could shoot up to 10 arrows in a minute. This made them deadly opponents in battle since they could shoot down several enemy soldiers before they had a chance to react. The most famous archer in Japanese history, Date Masamune, was a master of this art. Number 4. Badangashi. This was an offensive tactic that was used by the samurai when they wanted to break through enemy ranks. By riding their horses in a wedge shape, the samurai were able to crash into the enemy lines and break them apart. This required a lot of coordination between the different units, but it was very effective in battle. Oda Nobunaga used this tactic to great effect during his campaigns in China. 5. Yarigaki. This was a defensive formation that was used by the samurai when they were facing an overwhelming number of enemies. By sticking their spears into the ground and leaning on them, the samurai were able to form a tight defensive circle that was very difficult for the enemy to break through. This tactic was often used in combination with the Kisho formation. Number 6. Poridori. This was a naval tactic that was used by the samurai when fighting on the seas. Basically, the samurai would use their ships to form a barrier around their fleet. This made it very difficult for the enemy to attack since they had to go through the samurai's outer line of defense before reaching the valuable vessels in the middle. This tactic was used successfully by the Japanese Navy during the Mongol invasions of Japan. Number 7. Toragashi. This was a type of ambush that was used by the samurai when they were fighting in mountainous terrain. Basically, the samurai would hide in the mountains and wait for the enemy to pass below them. Then they would launch a surprise attack from above. This tactic was especially effective against large armies since the samurai were able to pick off the enemy soldiers one by one without risking their own lives. 8. Sugashi. This was another type of ambush that was used by the samurai. This time they would hide in the tall grass and wait for the enemy to come close. Then they would launch a surprise attack and cut down the enemy soldiers. This tactic was especially effective against cavalry since the samurai were able to avoid being run over by simply hiding in the tall grass. 9. Inagaki. This was a type of defense that was used by the samurai when they were under attack. By forming a human shield around important members of their group, the samurai were able to protect them while they retreated to safety. This required a high level of discipline and training, but it was often necessary in order to survive an attack. Number 10. Karakurigaki. These were mechanical devices that were used by the samurai in order to help them in battle. There were all sorts of different karakurigaki, but some of the more popular ones included things like automated turrets that could shoot arrows or cannons that could fire explosive projectiles. While these devices were not always successful, They did demonstrate the ingenuity of the samurai and their willingness to experiment with new technologies. Now let's talk about guns. As Western traders began arriving in Japan in the 16th century, they brought with them new technologies, including firearms. At first, the samurai were skeptical of these new weapons, but eventually they began to see the potential they had in battle. Firearms were especially useful in siege warfare, since they could be used to break through the walls of a castle or fort. Additionally, they were effective against enemy cavalry, since they could be fired at the horses, causing them to panic and break ranks. The samurai quickly began incorporating guns into their arsenals, and by the early 17th century, they were commonly used throughout Japan, so there you have it. 10 different battle tactics the samurai used in the Sengoku and Edo periods. If you enjoyed this episode, then please leave a like and subscribe. We've got lots of other great episodes coming up, so don't miss out. Thanks for watching. See ya.